morning, everybody, and welcome to today's coffee chat. Hope to have some great conversation today with Greg Robertson. Many of you may know him. He's somewhat infamous in our business, being someone that's an outspoken and passionate supporter of our industry. So welcome, Greg.
Thank you, Marilyn. How you doing?
We're doing great. So today we're going to talk about 5 ways to get tough in a tough time. And if there's anybody that can show us how to get tough, it's Greg. He's arguably one of our best salespeople in the entire industry. So I'm glad to have you with us today. I wanted to just do a little bit of housekeeping before we start. For those, and this is probably getting old news now because I'm sure many of you have been on webinars, but we wanted to just let you know, if you go over in your control panel, you'll see a little section that says questions with a little gray triangle next to it. If you have any questions throughout the session, just click on that. We may answer it or ask it right as you pose it, or we might wait till the end. So if we don't hear us answer it right away, don't worry, we're going to hold on. And wanted to just officially introduce Greg Robertson. He is the CEO of Cloud CMA and co-founder of WNR Studios. That's offered us all kinds of interesting tools in his Cloud CMA or Cloud Agent Suite and all kinds of things. He's been in the industry now for how many years, Greg?
27.
27. You're an old fart, just like me, huh?
Oh man, I tell you.
Well, and if any of you are joining us for the first time on our coffee chats, the whole idea of these was, we just started these about a couple weeks ago now, is to give you, tangible, actionable things that you can do right now for those that are a little bit slower in their business to, sort of prepare yourself for the future, and for those that are still doing business to sort of do the best job you can with a variety of different technologies from a variety of different people. So that's what we're here to do today. Hopefully it'll help you. So again, feel free to ask questions if there's anything that that you think can help you in a bigger way. So Greg, thanks again for coming. Can you slide over and show everybody that funny picture you have behind you? It's really funny. The man who knows. There we go. All right, well, I guess let's just jump right in. The first thing is, what's going on with you and your clients in the COVID-19 thing? What are you hearing? Any good news, bad news? How are people writing it out? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how, these types of times, people show, they show you innovation themselves, right? So, for instance, with our Cloud CMA product, it actually does 4 different reports. It does a CMA, it does a buyer tour, it does flyers and prop reports. We have this kind of slideshow thing in the buyer tour, and a lot of agents are using that slideshow to do virtual kind of open houses or virtual showings. Something we didn't design it for. Nothing we ever thought that was going to happen. But really, and they're giving us now feedback of how we could make it better. For those, right?
That's great. Yeah. So yeah, when necessity is the mother of invention, as they say, right?
Totally. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I heard one piece of good news today, I think. Stanford just got approved with a new test where everybody can get tested. And if you've shown that you have the antibodies of COVID, then you would be cleared to return back to work and return back to society, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of the reverse. Okay. What we're, not testing to get sick, testing that you're not going to get sick, which is interesting. So I don't know if that's good. I mean, there's still a tremendous amount of deaths that are coming in, but at least there's a lot of really smart people. I was talking to a woman yesterday that works at NASA, a friend of mine, and she said that within a week and a half, it's kind of like, the missions can never fail in NASA, right? Within a week and a half, they put a team together of those ridiculously smart rocket scientists that work there. They developed a brand new ventilator that was cheap, fast, and completely effective and really easy to manufacture in a week and a half.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I've seen like videos like Tesla's been doing that and some other companies. So it's great to see that kind of innovation out there for sure.
And she, of course, brags and she says their solution's better than what Tesla came up with. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, I love to see our smart, passionate people being dedicated to things like this, which can really make a big difference. All right, so right now in your mind, what's the one most important thing that an agent and teams and brokers can do to ride this thing out and prepare themselves for the future? What's the best thing they can focus on?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't know about everybody else, but a lot of times it's like, that is a big question I hear is like, what should I be doing? Right.
Right.
And it's a hard thing because a lot of times you want to be so crass as to like, go out there and really sell something. Right. And,
Right.
What we're seeing some agents do, and it really, I think, helps in both ways, is that reaching out to their past clients, right, and offering them to do a CMA on their homes, right? They're not in that case really selling them, but they're giving them a service, and it's also helping the agent kind of sharpen their skills as far as making CMAs, right? But at the same time, reaching out to your clients is always a good idea anyway, but it doesn't
Right.
seem like you're being too too crass, really, right? And
Right.
and there, to me, I would frame it, hey, listen, I'm locked down just like you, right? And I can't show property. I can't list property right now. It's difficult to list, difficult
Right.
to show. I'd love to be able to. I need to kind of work on my normal real estate skills anyway. Would you like me to kind of do a full CMA on your home right now? I
Right.
think that's a perfect way to kind of re-engage with your past clients and help each other in these times, right?
Yeah, I've heard some agents kind of go at it similar, but just a slightly different way where they'll call someone. Obviously, the first question is, how are you doing? Right? We always have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially right now, people just need to sort of talk, especially if they've had any challenges in their business or in their lives. But if it comes up that, well, what does this mean for, if the economy starts being a part of the conversation, and what does that mean for my home? And are we going to see what happened in 2008 come around again and things like that?
Right.
It's another way to sort of come, there's so many articles right now about none of us can sleep. It's like, well, don't worry about that one. You don't lose sleep over this one. You can lose it over other things, but not this one. So kind of be there for them to say, your home really is okay and it's still a sound investment, and maybe remind them how, mortgage rates are coming down, have come down pretty significantly, and it might be a time for you to think about refinancing. If the agent knew when they bought the house, they might remember what kind of a mortgage rate they were paying for. So remind them that refis are coming in really cheap right now with some really good points and terms.
Yeah, and we went into this with a shortage of supply too, right? So
Exactly.
those fundamentals I don't think are going to change a lot. I think at the end of the day, I think people are going to appreciate their home even more, right? So
Yeah.
and then and it could work both ways. They can appreciate how much their home is worth, but then they can what home means to them. But also, well, it would be really great if since you're spending so much time, if I had this or if I had that, or maybe if it was configured this way, right? So maybe you'll get some people who want to get out of their home because they've just been living in it and they've realized these things that they want to upgrade or change about it. Right?
True. That's a good point. Yeah. If your house may feel way too small right now, especially if you've got little kids running around and you're both of you home. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a question a little bit unrelated, but let's jump into it from TZ. Do you think it'll be back to open houses after this thing is over? You think we're going to go back to that tradition again?
Yeah. So I get this question a lot. I mean, just talking with friends and everything. It's like, what happens? What is culture going to be like after this? Right? Are we going to want to go to sporting events, to concerts, to things like that? And my belief is that these kind of platitudes we've been hearing for years from our mothers and our families and everything else, like wash your hands, close the door, wipe, just be those kind of things. I think we've always heard those,
right? But
we never really took them that seriously. So I think the cultural changes, I think everybody's going to take those things a lot more seriously. Stay home when you're not feeling well. I think masks will probably become more prevalent like they are in Asia.
Right.
I just don't think that we're going to not want to be with each other, right? And we're not going to want to have that physical presence, right? Maybe showings become everybody out of the house and go in there. But then on the other side of that, the seller might not want people in their house, right? But I think if people just, the cultural shift, I think will be, we're going to just listen to what everybody's been saying all along and just take it more seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope. And yeah, I mean, maybe we don't have to, jam our hands over everything that we walk into and things like that. We learn to
Right.
just be a little more sensitive or a little bit more conscious of what we're touching and why. That's not a bad thing. That's
Yeah. No.
for any kind of disease.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, in our house, I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hug about 7,000 people. The thing we miss the most is hugging people other than each other.
Yeah.
And in real estate, we're
Yeah.
huggers. We love to hug. You go to
Yeah.
conferences. I went to the Leading RE conference right before this happened, and everybody was doing the elbow thing, and it was like, this is just not any fun at all.
I know.
This is not what we do in
I
real
was
estate.
I was talking to a couple of people on our Slack channel, and the thing they miss the most is like, can I start a tab? Can I get a tab going?
Right. Exactly. All right, well, let's switch over. Let's switch topics for a minute. I hear from a lot of the agents that I've been speaking with that if they still have lead gen programs, leads are slowing down, but they're hearing they're telling me that the quality of the leads are even better. What are you guys hearing? Because you have got some lead gen programs and stuff too.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about this. I mean, people are at home and they're online a lot, right? And again, they're in a home and they're again thinking about their home's value because it's their biggest asset. There's a big crisis going on, and that
Right.
makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think lead generation, especially online stuff, is actually makes a lot of sense for people. One of the you were talking about doing some actual item stuff is that, and again, I don't want to get too pluggy here,
Yeah.
but in every we have over 500,000 subscribers to Cloud CMA. A lot of people get it free through their MLS, right? So it's something that they already have in their tool chest, right? So in every subscription to Cloud CMA, they get a free "What's My Home Worth" landing page.
Okay.
And if they go to their settings, they click lead generation. If you click one button that says Facebook on there, it'll put a link to a "What's My Home Worth" landing page that anybody can fill out, and it'll be automatically generated an automatic Cloud CMA, and then you as the agent get a notification saying, hey, somebody's requested this CMA, and you can follow up with them. And it's just like a little bit of a taste. There's not a full CMA.
Yeah.
But that is a very simple thing to put out there. And the thing is that I've got a lot of real estate trainers. The way they start their class is just okay. Everybody, before we start the class, everybody here has got a Cloud CMA account. Go in here and create do this thing. Just click on the Facebook button, put it on your Facebook account, and most of these trainers tell me they do that because by the end of the class, they've got 1, 2, 3 people that have generated leads.
That's awesome.
Right? So it's such a really simple way of doing something. So and again, in this time right now, if you're sitting at home, sharpen those skills. Making a CMA it's a muscle. You got to keep doing it, right? To do it well and to get to know the market well. So I think things like that are good, and I think the fact that people are online a lot make it easy to kind of do, and you have a bigger audience right now.
Yeah. So the one thing that I would suggest to the audience is go into your MLS right now, or not right now, but as soon as we're off the call. And many of you have the sort of SSO, those big dashboards that have all the logos all over them. Look for a Cloud CMA logo. If you have one, click on it. You'll automatically be logged in because of the way that dashboard's set up. And then you could do exactly what Greg's talking about. It won't cost you 1 cent. If you don't, you can go to, there's free trials as well on your website, right?
Yeah, they can try it free for 30 days. So they go to cloudcma.com. That's easy to do.
Yeah. So one of the things we're trying to do on these is give you, all of you that are listening, fast and inexpensive and easy things to try. And here's a great example. Cloud CMA is probably I would say it's the largest CMA in the market now. You probably would agree with me on that, right, Greg?
Well, we have, like I said, 500,000 subscribers. It's available in North America, Canada, and the U.S. And so far, our subscribers have generated over 15 million reports, and we average about 260,000, or our users average about generating 260,000 Cloud CMA reports a month. So we got some scale there for sure.
So TZ's asking another question. He said, I think he's believing that he can get a listing, but do you think you can actually sell them by virtual tours only, or virtual, even the live? What's your feeling on that?
It's funny, and this will be the first time I've actually talked about this, but I want to say probably around the November timeframe, we began working on something we call Cloud CMA Live. And the whole impetus of it was basically to make an interactive experience for Cloud CMA that really matched the kind of the beautifully designed reports we have, right? And we had no idea of, and this was mostly for still, traditional listing presentations, because a lot of the surveys that we've done show that when you ask an agent, do they give a CMA or the listing presentation via paper or digital?
Right.
It's not an either or conversation. It's a both. They like the memorialization of that printed report that they can bring in there, and it gives them confidence when they bring a report in with them, and they can go over that. And it's a nice leave behind. But at the same time, they want to have this interactive experience too with their clients, where they can, show photos and show some charts and graphs that they can kind of do what if situations on, right? So we've been working on that a while, and now that this the situation we're in now, where we have the social distancing, this has just put a brand new spin on what we're calling Cloud CMA Live.
Right.
And we're launching that in a couple of weeks. And one of the big things is I'm kind of, it's what do you get when you cross Zoom and Cloud CMA? You get kind of a Cloud DMA, right? It's kind of corny.
Right.
But really,
it's
it's really now, just looking at it as we are, it's going to be a great tool for agents to do virtual or remote listing presentations. And I can't wait to show everybody. It's like I said, it's going to launch in a couple weeks here. It'll be a free enhancement to every Cloud CMA subscriber out there. And of course, you can try it free if you want. But I don't think there's been a tool yet, because I talk to agents. I can do buyers. I can show buyers houses virtually. That's pretty good. But listing presentation, I don't have any tools that really do it that well. And I think this will maybe hopefully kind of feed that necessary need out there.
You get that live call, we'll get you back on to show everybody, because that sounds great.
Okay, yeah, great. Yeah.
And TZ, thanks for being back on, by the way, TZ. You've been on a few days now. Thank you. One of the things that that I would suggest to everyone is to check what if you're essential or not. I think you probably all know that by now, but what it means specifically in your county. Like in our county, you can actually now, you couldn't a week ago, but you can actually now do a one-on-one live tour. You can't bring 40 people, and you certainly can't do an open house, but you can actually go in, as long as the homeowner is comfortable and that you practice proper social distancing. Most people suggest that the homeowner leave the home, that you suggest nobody touch anything, you bring wipes with you. There's a lot of ways to be cautious, but check, because you may actually be able to go into the house. It depends. And these rules are changing by the hour, so keep in tune with what's going on with your local state. This is an interesting question, completely unrelated, from Miguel. What do you guys think is the future of iBuyers with all this craziness happening?
What do I think?
Yeah,
sure. I think that, the way, there's two things that could go here, right? Again, I don't think that a lot of the iBuyers have pulled out right now. They're not making any offers, and it makes sense, because in some places you can't even sell homes because of the shelter-in-place laws, and you can't get to the county recorder's office or anything else. So I wouldn't look at this particular pausing that the iBuyers are doing now as like a kind of a death knell of the model. I think that they have I think that you could argue with the social distancing and the things that how easy it is, and the certainty and convenience that iBuyers offer, they might have a brighter future than before, right? Because a lot of, like, Open Door is just, you just walk in the house, it's vacant, you don't need to be with anybody else, right? There is a certainty kind of thing that's going online, and you can just kind of get it done online without having to kind of have multiple showings, people in your in and house, traipsing in and back. There's a certainty, like, people may, like, what is going to happen next? What's the next crisis? I just want more certainty in my life.
Right.
And therefore kind of go with that. Right. So I think it's, I don't, there's always, and this, Marilyn, there's a game we play in organized real estate. Like, well, what's the market going to be for iBuyers? Is it going to be 10% of the market, 5%, 50%.
Right.
I mean, that's a game we all play.
Right.
It's going to be a percentage. I don't know what it is,
Absolutely.
right? I think it's probably less than 20, but I think you know, I still believe in the iBuyer kind of model, and I think it's, you know, this latest crisis really doesn't have isn't really a factor of whether that model is going to be successful or not. I mean, you know, they're like any other business right now. They've got to survive this, of course, right? But I would definitely say that this is because they couldn't make it through this, that the whole model extinct for sure.
No, I kind of agree with you. In fact, I was really surprised when they put a lot of their businesses on hold. Because if I'm buying it virtually, then why can't I buy it? Like, it didn't make sense to me. I guess it's the selling part that they were worried about. But if they were willing to buy and hold, if I'm buying it without any physical contact with the house, like, why wouldn't I be able to do that? I was surprised that they slowed down as much as they have, to be honest, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know the inner workings of most of them, but.
Exactly. Well, someone just made a comment. Miguel said, well, there may be trust issues since iBuyers canceled existing contracts, which is true. That's possible. I don't know.
No, absolutely.
With the billions of dollars that have been poured into that business, I wouldn't count them out anytime soon. I think we're.
Yeah, and the trust. I mean, you know, let's give each other a break here, right? I mean,
right.
This is unprecedented, right? And I push back on a lot of people, like, you know, I've been hearing the Warren Buffett quote, like, hey, when the tide goes out, you see who's naked, right? You know, there are a lot of legitimate businesses that do a great job for their clients and customers that will not make it. And it's not because they were bad businessmen. It's not because their model was wrong. It's just because this is unprecedented, right? So I'm not in the camp of like, you know, well, hey, you know, this is the thinning of the herd. Bad businesses are going to go out of business. You know, that's going to happen. But there are a lot of good businesses. I mean, you know, we've had a business. We started this company in 2008, right at the beginning of the kind of global recession. And if something like this happened to Dan and I in year 3, I don't think we'd make it. Not because we didn't have a good business or good product. It's just, you know, as a young company, as a small company, you don't have the resources to kind of get that going on. So trust issues and everything else. But there's some of these circumstances they are unprecedented. So we just got to be more, have more empathy towards each other on that kind of stuff.
Exactly. One piece of good news, the chief economist from Leading RE, the leading real estate companies of the world, did a great video. In fact, I'll put it in the recording when I send this one out. And she talked about that this is not going to be our debacle. It's still, certainly if you have a small company and you haven't had that much business coming in, you can still have trouble, obviously. But or a company that's bloated with too much capital and too much overhead, that's also possible. But she was saying that this isn't really about us this time. It's going to be much more about tourism. You know, when a restaurant loses 80% of its business overnight, and, you know, many businesses are small, run, you know, husband and wife kind of team. They don't have that capital to ride this out. They're the ones that are going to be in trouble. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, you know, and then it's a domino effect, right? So if you got a strip mall, there's a let's say there's a restaurant, there's a 7-Eleven, there's a scrapbook store, there's a tutor, right? There's a skateboard shop. And if all those things are closed and they can't pay rent, that goes up to the owner of the commercial property, and they can't make their mortgage, right? So it's gonna affect crazy. Yeah. All right, so let's go back to, you know, people on this call are looking for ideas. What other suggestions do you have for them for right now, to help right now, and also to prepare themselves when we come out of this, so that they're really in a good shape to, you know, to move forward in a positive way? Yeah, so to me, realtors are entrepreneurs just like myself, right? And this is kind of a crazy times right now. But I think number one, I always say, like, is you got to have a plan, right? Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't write those things down, if you don't come up with anything, you can't free your mind to think of anything else there. So, you know, for our business, for instance, we've done a budget, like, okay, what's a bad budget? What's a worse budget? What's a nuclear budget, right? And how those things kind of fan out. And what that's done to me is it's kind of like, okay, we know what we're going to do. I always think of it like, you know, and we talk about that a lot in our company. It's like, what's our first line of defense? Okay, here's what we're going to do now.
but I'm going to
Mhm.
look back, like, where am I going to go if this becomes unattainable, right? So that's my next backup, and then my next one. So as long as I know the path that I'm going to go backwards, I'm going to fight like hell here in front, but I want to know where I'm going to, where I don't want to figure out where I'm going to go next. Hope is not a strategy, right? I think the second thing is that once you've made a plan, that plan has to include offense or defense and offense, right? So
Mhm.
the defensive measures are going to be things like, I've got to cut some costs. I've got to, like, I can do without this and I can do without that. But don't like not think about being on the offense as well, right? So you have to have things that you're going to be doing that are positive, that are revenue generating, not just cost cutting. Because if we just focus on the cost cutting, that's going to be a bad thing. And that goes back really to point one. If I don't have a plan and usually those plans are all about the defensive maneuvers. If you don't have that, you can't free your mind enough to know what can I do offensively, right? What can I work on to kind of drive forward, right? So really, having a plan and then having both sides, that plan will let you think about the positive things you can do going forward instead of just these, cost cutting expensive things, those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, it can almost be like reallocating expenses. If you go through your credit card or your Quicken or whatever, wherever you keep track of all this stuff, or hopefully you do keep track. That's one thing. If you don't, you probably should. That's one
Right.
point. Right? But I've been talking to a lot of the top producing agents. They're leaning in. They're not cutting. They're leaning in. They're saying, I've got a chance here to get more aggressive and to come out the other side with more market share than I would have ever had. But here's another thing I would suggest to the audience to think about is when this first started, what was the first thing that you panicked about that you didn't feel you were prepared for, right? So if you didn't know what a Zoom or a GoToMeeting was, if you didn't understand what digital marketing is or how you can use it in your business, if your whole business was referral, which I'm sure some of it still is, but if you didn't have ways to continue to nurture a larger database of people to talk to, those are the kinds of things you should think about as part of what Greg's talking about, your plan, right? And then some of it's
Yeah.
dumb stuff, but important stuff like cleanup. Like, is your database in one place? Are there things you can do to make sure that whenever you put a marketing program in place that you're fully leveraging it? And then, again, a lot of the parts of these coffee chats is finding the stuff that doesn't cost you anything right now that's still proactive, to your point, right? Greg just gave you what, 3 different things you could do like when we get off this call that won't cost you 1 cent, that can help you learn about how to leverage cloud CMA or any CMA for that matter in these times and beyond, right? So it's kind of like being honest with ourselves right now. We were talking about this earlier. The veneer is gone. Nobody's, we don't wear makeup. We don't wear clothes. We don't wear business suits. Everything is, it's all bets are off, right? But it's
We're all
also,
wearing hats now.
yeah, right. Yeah. I washed my hair today. Isn't it beautiful? But we be honest with yourself about, have you really, that your broker, if brokers are on the call, they'll probably laugh, but your broker's offered you tools you're not taking advantage of, right?
Totally.
Your
Yeah.
MLS has offered you tools you're not taking advantage of. NAR has offered you tools you're not taking advantage of. Like, this is the time to say, all right, uncle, I will take the time. I'm in the privacy of my own home. Even if it's scary to me, I'm going to take the time to do some of these things, because at the end of the day, I don't have a choice anymore.
Yeah, it's about sharpening your saw right now too, right? If you can't,
Right.
and again, going back to what we started off with, what should I be doing right now? If you're not doing those kind of things, I mean, I would go back and learn, like, that CRM that you always wanted to kind of implement or didn't know that much about, or I wish I
Right.
knew how to do that, right?
Right.
Learn that. I mean, I tell you, my company also, we are all like putting out a lot of content to help our customers learn more about, the tools that we have, right? And I get, I'm on a lot of these email lists from all the other vendors that I know of, and they're doing the same kind of things, right? So there's a lot of opportunity to kind of come out of this, like, really being a superstar and like expert, a ninja on all these kind of tools that are available out there for sure.
Yeah, so don't hit the delete key as much on your inbox. You get one, actually stop. You have a minute to read it because it'll be really helpful for you. Speaking of that, is there any free training or any other types of learning opportunities that Cloud CMA is offering that our audience can take advantage of?
Absolutely. If you go to cloudagentsuite.com and there's a learning tab at the top, we can do a variety of things. We have, daily webinars, weekly webinars. You can even do a one-on-one with our guys. You can schedule a one-on-one training on those things. So we're very active in that. Plus, there is a crap ton of videos on there. I mean, we have a few years ago, I hired a video production manager who works with us full time. So we're always cranking out these, 1 to 2 minute videos to kind of how to and learn things. So we have a lot of resources on those things. Your MLS providers, I get a lot from a lot of the local MLSs here, like CRMLS, are putting on some fantastic training things. Other vendors are doing a lot of those kind of things with some really good content. I've been following a lot of the coaches. Tom Ferry's putting out some fantastic stuff, and it's all free. Sharon, he's putting out some fantastic stuff. I mean, these guys are really, again, I think they're feeling like you guys are doing. I mean, all of us are trying to step up for the industry we love, and stuff that they would maybe put behind a paywall or have, some subscription. They realize, like I think you and I realize, we're all in this together. Exactly. And we want to help each other out during this time, and they're putting out there. I mean, I'm watching Tom Ferry videos, man. I mean, I'm a fan anyway, but I mean, it gives me a little bit of motivational boost, and also a lot of these guys share. Sharon shares a lot of great tips as well. So I'm all over that stuff.
What is Sharon's website? I don't know that one.
I'll give it to you if you put it in the show notes. Yeah, I'll give it to you in the show notes. Yeah.
So everybody look in the chat for a second. I put the URL for cloudagentsuite.com where Greg was just talking about, where you can get free training and even one-on-one training. Also wanted to let you know, right after this at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we have another webinar being hosted by HomeSnap that's talking about how to leverage social media in your advertising and to do it in a sensitive way. And also wanted to, the third thing in here where you got more learning than you could possibly do. Tomorrow on our coffee chat, we have Josh McFall, who's the CEO from Valley MLS in Alabama. He's going to talk to you about all the ways that you can get free listing exposure and lead gen through your MLS without spending one penny. So a lot of these are really about, I'm sorry, it's 11 a.m. Pacific. I misquoted there, not 10 a.m. Pacific. So it's 2 o'clock Eastern. But he's going to help us figure out ways to leverage our MLS more. You guys pay, everybody buys MLS pretty much, right? If you're in the business, you're doing that. And they offer you so many things that, hopefully you'll learn more about it. Cloud CMA being one of them. Remember, go into your MLS, into the dashboard, or under the, some of them have lists of links. Look for cloudcma.com, click on that, and you'll see that there's all kinds of stuff available that won't cost you 1 more cent.
And I'll give you a short story about that real quick, Marilyn. Yesterday, I had to go in the office because I had to sign some checks, right? We got to pay our vendors as well. And there was a check made out to an agent, and it was for $2,100, $2,152 or something. I'm like, and during this time, cash is king.
Right.
So that caught my attention, right? And I'm like thinking, what the hell? How are we? And we're pretty, if people don't want to use our service, we don't want to charge them. Just
of course
cancel. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, but what came to find out is that she was paying for a subscription, right? That was already for 2 years. That was free from her MLS.
Right. People do that all the time.
And I think, when people are kind of looking at their stuff and like, I didn't want to write that check, but I mean, she was pretty persistent as well. So it just shows you there's a lot of value out there that you can kind of find if you go look for it, for sure.
Exactly. It's just, it'll take you 5 minutes, even if just go in and click on one logo you don't recognize. And if it's not Cloud CMA is not there, click on another one you don't recognize. I guarantee you those tools have been chosen very carefully to help you do business. They're not there for the MLS's health. They're there for your health. So check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're just past the top of the hour, and thanks for all the questions from the audience. Thank you, Greg. This was awesome, and definitely let us know when your virtual live showing thing, whatever is going to be called, is available.
CMA Live.
Cloud CMA Live.
yeah.
Let us know when
Yeah.
that's live, and we'll bring you back on. You can give us a full demo and show us how that works. Okay.
Yeah, and thanks to you guys and RE Technology for doing these kind of things. I mean, I know that you and Victor for sure care about the industry, and it's just great to see you guys doing things like this.
Trying to do our part. All right, everybody, go out there, stay calm, stay safe, stay healthy, and make it happen. Have a good day.
Bye.